Welcome to winter bass fishing again. Well, winter fishing in general. Bass is the main goal, but if the bass don't bite, we're going to catch something else, or at least try to. If you are new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Thanks for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, subscribe because, well, help me out. I'm working towards monetization here, guys. This channel is not monetized, doesn't make any money yet. But the goal is, over the next year or so, that we are able to monetize this channel and do it full-time and bring you guys more content and better content and all the things. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe because it'll help out. If you're a long-time watcher or subscriber and you watched last year's winter fishing series, we did okay as far as catching. Let me take my glove off. I realized I got one glove on, one glove off. What am I doing here? We did okay as far as catching fish. We caught a lot of fish over the winter. Bass was a little bit different story. We did catch some bass, which last year was the first year that I ever really targeted winter fish, that I ever even like really gave it a true effort to fish and catch bass and learn how to bass fish in the winter. Up until last year, I just hadn't done it. I dabbled here and there like a time or two, but nothing like serious or consistent. And last year, as far as catching fish went, we caught a lot of fish, a lot of pan fish like perch and crappie and trout. Trout are not a pan fish, but you get the picture, like a lot of other species other than bass, but we did get a few bass. I think we caught 8 or 9 bass over the winter. Majority of them were like 6 to 10 inches. They weren't very big. We did get one though that was like 2.5 pounds. That was fun. That was my first like ever like good size winter bass ever in my life. And the other 8 or 9, the littler ones, were my first ever bass. I had never caught bass up until last year. So this year we're going to continue it, and I want to grow more and get better and just grow as an angler and bring you guys along with me and learning. And over these next 3 months, I got some goals that I want to hit. Or at least I want to try and hit. I'm going to share them with you, and then let's see if we can reach these goals this year. All right, there's 5 goals total. The first goal I have, and there's no like particular order. These are just goals I just came up with and just jotted them down. The first goal is catch 5 bass 1 pound or bigger. So I want to catch at least 5 bass that go over a pound or bigger, because last year I caught only 1 that went over that size. Goal number 2 is to catch a smallmouth bass this winter. I never caught a smallmouth last year. I fished a lot of lakes with smallmouth, and I only caught trout and perch at those lakes. So I want to catch a smallmouth bass. So any size, I don't care. It could be this big. I don't really care. If it's a smallmouth, it counts. The third goal, to catch a 4-pound bass or bigger. Just a big, tank of a bass. Here in Western Washington, in my opinion, 4 pounds or bigger is a big bass in Western Washington. Like, they don't come around like all the time. You catch a lot of 1 to 2 pound fish. 4 pounds and bigger is you're getting into some good bass here in Western Washington. The fourth goal I have written down is to catch a total of 25 bass throughout the whole winter. Like I said a minute ago, I think I caught 8 or 9. I don't remember the number exactly, but I think it was 8 or 9 bass total last year. And this is any size, so I don't care what size they are. A bass is a bass, and it's going to count. So 25 bass in total is what I want to catch. That would increase us quite a bit from what we caught last year if we can do that. And then the last goal, goal number 5 I have written down, is to catch 100 fish throughout this whole winter. I don't even remember how many fish I caught last year. I don't know if I even came close to that, but I know we caught a few. We caught a handful of fish, just a mixed bag. I don't care. Trout, perch, crappie, bluegill, bass, whatever. I don't care. Whatever fish we catch goes towards the 100 fish total, and that's the 5th goal I have written down. So those are the 5 goals I have for this winter. See if we can't reach these goals this year, guys. And so come on along and join me. Sorry if the motor's a little loud, but what we're going to do right now is just kind of idle around, look for bass on the fish finder, or just fish in general, and then just also looking for just different structures, maybe on side scan here, if I can find like brush piles or lay down logs. This lake doesn't really have a lot of rock in it, but if it did, if I find a piece of rock or something Yeah, that's a good thing. We'll mark it. But basically what I'm going to do is just kind of idle around a little bit here and try and mark some fish so we have a general area of, kind of where they're holding. And then we'll start fishing. Alright guys, well we just went over a good amount of fish, so we're gonna fish this. There's a little hump out here. I don't know if it's bass, but there was definitely fish sitting right on top of the hump and then right at the break, so there was fish all over it. I'm gonna use a method called speed cranking. And basically we're gonna just use this crankbaiter here. It's a deep diving crankbait. And, we're gonna throw it out and you just basically burn it back as fast as you can and pause it here and there along the way. Oh no, guys. You're dying. Dang it. Alright guys, so my camera fell into the water and I was going to record the rest of the day just on my chest camera, which I did, thinking there would be audio. My chest camera, for whatever reason, no audio. So with that, I'm going to give you a little voiceover action here. Basically, right here in this clip here, I'm just kind of telling you guys, hey, I'm going to record the rest of this video with the chest camera because my main camera fell in the water. After that, so after I showed you guys that, we end up getting back onto fish. My thought was, let's drop shot. We tried the speed cranking. It wasn't working. We probably fished with that speed crank for 10 or 15 minutes. But I just wanted to drop down and see if I could catch these fish with a drop shot. So I got out the drop shot setup and I put on a Berkley 2-inch minnow. And then we just dropped down on some fish, straight down on the ones that I could see on the graph. And we end up dropping down and then boom, fish on. Got a fish, not sure what it is. I'm thinking it's a perch. No, it is not a perch, guys. It is a bass, our first bass of the winter. First bass of the winter, guys. I was shocked. I was really shocked. Not a big one, not a giant, but it was probably 10 inches or so. It was a cool catch because I was expecting it to be a perch, and it ended up being a bass. That little 2-inch minnow there, just it's my go-to bait. It's the bait that when all else fails, that Berkley 2-inch minnow, I feel like I can throw that out there and I'm going to catch something. And it ended up being that nice little bass. Pretty cool. And then our next drop down, we drop right back down. I'm going to show you the line going down, so that red and yellow big mark at the bottom is my weight, and the solid yellow line coming down is the bait. And I'm just showing you guys what it looks like as it falls down. And then just kind of give it a little jig. Basically, it was just like watching the graph, and I could see the fish come up to the bait, and I would just jig it a little, just like kind of just barely shake the rod tip a little bit, and then let it sit. And shake the rod tip, let it sit. That was kind of the method to how I was fishing this Berkley 2-inch minnow on the drop shot. And then boom, another fish bites. This one I'm not sure what it's going to be. Ends up being a perch. Awesome little perch. boom, falls right off there. This one I decide, you know what? Let's keep this sucker and let's eat it later on. All right, and then just shortly after I caught that fish, I ended up running into these guys, and the guy in the back there, his name was Jason, and he said he watched my videos, which was awesome. Jason, you're the first person ever to recognize me. I've never been recognized by somebody on the water, so that was pretty cool for me to have somebody say, hey, I watch your videos. So I appreciate you watching my videos, man. And if you're not subscribed, buddy, you got to subscribe. So subscribe to the channel, please. But I had a good time talking to you. Finished up talking to Jason, and then probably fished for another 10 or 15 minutes. It took me a while, but I finally ended up catching another fish. Ended up hooking into another fish. Right about, there's a bite, and then bam, there's the fish. And hooked up. What is it? It is a perch. We got another perch, guys. So second perch of the day, and 3 fish total. Pretty good day for the winter. Nice little perch. These perch were about 8 inches or so, so they were good sized little eating perch. And I ended up putting that one in the live well, and we're gonna cook it up later. After that last perch, we ended up fish for probably another 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. Had a couple more bites, but just didn't hook up with any more fish. So I decided to stop dropping the fish, and I wanted to go fish the banks. So we went and fished a couple spots along the bank, just trying for bass up shallower, and just nothing. I fished up shallow for probably an hour, hour and a half maybe. After nothing on the bank, I just decided, let's just take a break here and share with you guys the verse of the day. Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. It says, God saved you by his grace when you believed, and you can't take credit for this. It is a gift from God. Salvation is not a reward for the good things we have done, so none of us can boast about it. So being that we weren't catching anything up shallow, I just decided, let's just cook up these fish. But before we ended up cooking the fish, I ended up letting this bass go. I ended up keeping the bass with me because sometimes when you catch a fish and they're kind of in a school, they're grouped up, if you let them go back down right after you catch them, the rest of the fish will just stop biting. So I ended up keeping the bass, kept him in the live well with me, let him go when I was done fishing, and we were going to cook up these perch. And he swam off nice and healthy. All right, guys, so then after I released that bass, I had the bright idea, turn on your cell phone, record with that. So let's jump right into that footage. All right, so these guys, I just gotta clean them up. Got my box of fun stuff here. Cutting board. First things first is take these guys out so they don't, so they don't feel anything. All right, gave them a little whack. What I'm gonna do here, I'm actually gonna get this. This is like a scaler, and we're gonna scale. Okay, so all scaled up. They kind of know when they're scaled because when I run my fingers up them, he's like smooth. When their scales are there, they'll grab. It's like sandpaper. So if you feel sandpaper, you need to get the scales off. Now we're gonna fillet these boys. Oh, it had eggs. Check that out. I got all these little eggs in there. Wow. I'm not eating those though. So fish food, there you go. This is just fun to do out here on the boat, just to catch what you caught and then cook it. That's why I enjoy doing it. But to really feed yourself with some perch of this caliber, you're gonna need about like if you want to fill yourself up, you need about, I don't know, I'd say at least 10 of them. Here we go. Fish number 2 filleted. All right, so here's our 4 little nuggets. Our little cooker. Put that there. Pot. I'm gonna season these guys. The seasoning I have is Weber Chicken. It's the only seasoning I had at the house that I knew the wife didn't really ever use, and so I thought, well, I'll take that one. Now it's kicking perch. Weber kicking perch. There we go. Oil. Our kicking chicken perch. Alright, we had to move it down. Y'all come down here. The wind is howling so much we had to put it at the bottom of the boat because it just wasn't getting hot. The wind is just blowing like the flame away. We're boiling now, baby. Alright guys, I think it's about done. I'd say they're done. Oh yeah, that looks good. Here is our perch nuggets. Let's see how we did. Chicken, perch. Oh man. Wow. That is super good. Like, I'm not even joking. Wow, that seasoning. I've used this on fish before, this kicking chicken. I don't remember if it was on perch or not. But I'll tell you what, it's really good on perch. This is like nuggets. Wow, that's so good. So good. And it's thick. Like, the perch meat is like thick. It's like thick and like hearty versus like trout meat to me is like mushy. This isn't mushy, so it's literally tastes like a fish nugget. So good. And since we scaled them, you know, the skin is still on the back here, but you just eat the skin. It's all good. Just eat the whole thing, just like a nugget. And with filleting them, you know, you don't get the bone. Wow. That is so good, and with it being so cold out right now, the wind is like ripping 100 miles an hour. So having this warm fish is nice. Man, that is so good. Ah. Jesus, thank you for that fish. Thank you for that food, Lord. That was amazing. Woo! Well, guys, fish is gone. Those were beautiful. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We are up to fish total now for our goals for this year. We have 3 fish for our goal of 100 fish total this winter. We have 3, only 97 left to go. We have 1 bass, which goes towards our 25 bass goal total. So we only need 24 more bass for this winter. And the rest of the goals we still need to reach. We didn't get anything knocked off on the rest of the goals, but we did get 3 fish total and 1 bass. So it was a fun day. Loved it. Hope you guys did too. We'll do it again.